Can you learn some of the basics from our current events of today? Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and inspire. And normally I don't like to spend this much time on the current events. I like to get to the basics of personal development and work on those, but I mean, this is such an extraordinary era. I hope you realize that out there, that we are living right now in a tremendously important historical era with the pandemic and with the marches, and we are reaching just, this is going to be a time in American history that people are going to talk about. So in any case, I went through some of my notes. You know, I've read a few books here and there, and watch some videos, and I always take notes, and I went through them and kind of looking at the basics of leadership and situations and how people should act and so on, and going to apply them to the current events of today. So the first one is from a book by Joey Ryman, and Joey Ryman tells us that ahas are not meant to be managed. They are created to manage. Ahas are the visions that move companies forward. Therefore, they're priceless to people at the helms of their companies. We are right now in an aha moment where the entire country seems united with this George Floyd situation and not just protesting, but making some actual change. And people are very focused on, you know, how are we going to manage this moment? The moment will manage itself. My prediction is that what's going to happen is that certainly the politicians are all going to, grab hold of this particular concept. They're going to say, well, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And hopefully they will. And what's going to happen is the follow-up is that people will be, if people were driven to walk into the streets during a pandemic, one has to believe that people will be driven to go to the ballot box and vote for the candidate that's going to make sure that the policies that we want to move forward to increase the equality in this country, all men and women are created equal, that these are the people that you're going to vote for. So this situation will manage itself in that people are keeping it up front. And I mean, we're right now, as I'm sitting here, there have been, I think, 12 or 13 consecutive days of protesting on this one particular area, and it's not going anywhere, and it took the pandemic right off the front pages and right off as the lead story. So this is a critical situation, and we and the people are not going to let the powers that be forget about it. They're going to demand action, and the situation will manage itself with some help from the community leaders. All right, let's talk about the message a little bit. Now, what is the message when people are demonstrating that they're trying to get across? And I have to go back to The Who, those geniuses, The Who, the musical group, from their rock opera Tommy. See me, feel me, touch me, heal me. Isn't that the message that the protesters, the community are trying to get out? See me, feel my pain, touch me, get in touch with me, and heal me. It's very, very simple. See me, feel me, touch me, heal me. All right, let's talk a little bit on the leadership side. There's two ways that you can lead a group of people. You can inspire or you can require. And when push came to shove, our president came out and said, we're going to go and we're going to dominate. Instead of coming up with something that would be a little bit more inspiring, like, why don't we all lock arms peacefully and protest and get our voices heard? I'm with you on this. I'm with you on this. Instead of saying, if you want to get it done, we got to dominate. We got to dominate. Let's call out the Marines. Let's call out the Army. Please, Remember, leaders, there are two ways to lead. You can inspire or you can require. It's so much better to inspire than to require. Which brings us to something else I saw going through my notes, and it said, the beatings will continue until morale improves. Well, the president didn't say that, but he may have said it. All right, the beatings will continue until morale improves. But remember this, leadership isn't getting people to follow in line behind you, it's getting people to join you. So going back to that inspiration, when you're leading anything, you want people to join you in your effort. The best way to do that is to inspire them, get them to do it because they want to do it also. Now, how does somebody turn defeat into victory? Now, this would certainly apply to, let's see, the present occupant of the White House. Number one, what did I learn about myself? Well, perhaps that you speak before you think too often. Number two, what did I learn about other people? Well, if you weren't paying attention, there were people protesting in all 50 states and cities, towns, and villages. So hopefully you learned something. What did I learn about the world? The world also is getting hold of this particular issue. And it's not just the United States thing. It's something around the world. Racism, we can't claim racism just as a United States thing. Thank goodness that it's something that is worldwide, and people are saying, enough already. What can I do about it? Well, what you can do is you can communicate with the leaders that we need to take some steps. We need to have some written laws. We need to be in a position where we have the laws, and the laws come down and they change the mindset over time of people gradually. Just the same way as when they first had going to the airport, you had to, you have everything, you have to check, you have to have your baggage checked, they scan you, all that kind of thing. People complain about that. Now it's just standard operating procedure. So what first is an inconvenience, what first is something that people complain about, when you do it long enough, it becomes standard operating procedure and it becomes the prevalent mindset. Take 3 action steps. All right, as a leader, when you have something like this, when you have a project that you're willing to move forward, as somebody, if you go to a seminar and you're watching someone and you're all excited about it, but then you just take your notes and go home, wrong. You've got to do 3 things to get your momentum started. Do 3 things. They can be little things, but get started with something. And number 6, stop focusing so much on yourself. Gee, are we speaking to anybody in particular here? The question you should be asking yourself isn't how can I be served, but rather how can I serve? Now, some of the things that we've seen through these troubled times is that the truth is inconvertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is. It's on film. You can see it. All right, and what was amazing to me was that even while this particular issue is in the forefront, you still see people caught catching on camera other law enforcement people tasing and whatever they do, and like unjustly. It's like, hello, haven't you seen what's going on? And remember, if you're a minority of one, the truth is still the truth. Okay. Now this is kind of a personal philosophy that I use with Project Eli, and it's kind of 3 different facets to attacking a scenario. The first thing is raise the bar, change your mind, and open a take charge account. Raise the bar. See the situation as it is and visualize something better. And then change your mind. You can't keep doing the same old, same old. And change your mind can be take a different viewpoint, take a different paradigm, all right? But change your mind and move things forward. And then, of course, open up a take charge account. Move forward. Do something to get the inertia going in the right direction. Too many people die with their ideas and they don't ever get to dance with them. Go to the dance, pick a partner, and dance. That's what's essential to do. You've got to get to the starting line. Once you do that, you have momentum. Now, this is a quote from a poet named Levon Peter Poe. And this was not written recently. This was written a while ago. But I found it to be very apropos to our current scenario. And I quote, "I believe that even the most uneducated person has an instinct of what is right and wrong. To see a crime perpetrated right before your eyes and do nothing about it makes one equally guilty for allowing it to happen. This can be said of our culture. If something is wrong, or to use a less educated perspective, does not feel right, someone should say something about it to bring better understanding of the situation or even a change to the situation if it is perceived wrong by more than one individual." And once again, that's a poet. His name was Levon Peter Poe. And from my perspective, from the white America is seeing, hey, this is wrong. I'm a decent person. We can't let this happen. We've seen stuff like this happen, but now we're being hit over the head with it. And thank goodness, finally, white America is getting it. It's about time, wouldn't you say? It's about time, and it's not just people in America, as you can tell by the protests that you see around the world. And this is something that we need to take advantage of because opportunities are seldom labeled. This is clearly an opportunity for change. As a leader, don't be a leader who leads by an example of your power. Lead by the power of your example. And we've kind of seen some negative examples, like walking to, clearing those protesters from a peaceful rally and using force, and then walking over and holding up a Bible. Lead by the power of your example, lead by the power of your example, not an example of your power. It's the right of the people that they should not be deprived of hope. That's an inalienable right, I believe, and people are saying, you know what, we're entitled to a piece of the American dream also. And finally, though it may take a small steps to make a big leap, it is the vision of the big leap and not the action of the small steps that inspire us. And only after we have committed ourselves to that vision can we look back at our lives and say to ourselves that the work we did really mattered. So we're taking small steps, but we've got to keep that big vision of equality out there, front and center, for everybody to see and everybody to accept. So these are some thoughts on the current situation. And because we will never end a meeting on a philosophical note, let's all get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.